The story of a girl coming to terms with the power of the red panda. Turning Red recently came out on Disney+. The movie follows Mei Lee as she tries to balance her family and friends while figuring out how to control the gift passed down by her ancestor. But Mei isn't the only one to show an impressive display of strength during the film. And of all the characters, we want to know who is the strongest. And that's what we're going to figure out today. I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and this is Turning Red Characters Weak to Powerful. As usual, we'll be starting with the weakest character and working our way up to the most powerful. And that weakest character is Tyler. Tyler was shown as one of the many regular kids that Mei and her friends were around. Like any kid his age, Tyler was a victim of peer pressure and always sought out to be cool, or really, to be noticed in some way, which is why he took to bullying Mei and her friends whenever he found something they were insecure about. During his deal with Mei and his party, we see more of the vulnerable side that Tyler tried hiding from the rest of his classmates. Tyler had approached Mei to come to his birthday as the panda because he was convinced no one would come otherwise. And when he thought he was losing the attention he craved, he lashed out at her. During the end scenes, Tyler was able to be far more open. After his secret of enjoying Four Town's music and being accepted for it by Mei, Priya, Abby, and Miriam, Tyler decided to spend the concert with them. When the girls stayed to help encourage Mei and power the circle, Tyler stayed with them. He was able to show far more confidence and resolve by the end of the movie, showing a surprising amount of growth considering he was initially written off as a mindless bully. Our second weakest spot goes to Mei's father, Jin. Jin wasn't allowed to say much for the majority of the movie. He was constantly cut off by Ming or Wu, and was given orders to carry out various tasks. However, that doesn't mean that Jin was incapable. He had been the one to press Ming to finally talk about the family blessing. Jin was able to find the footage of his daughter being herself and encourage her to keep her gift.
Mei, erase it if you want, but this side of you.
Jin was able to use his quick thinking to fashion a circle before Wu even gave the command to. He didn't have a red panda or some other power, but being silent for so long meant he was able to sit back and observe what many others had missed. Our next spot is a tied placement going to Mei's friends, Priya, Abby, and Miriam. For average middle schoolers, these three were an unstoppable force of love and support. It was because of their determination to be there for Mei in her time of need that led Mei to learn how to control her powers.
You spelled your little butt off. First place in our hearts!
They were able to collaborate quickly to find a way to get to the Four Town concert. Even after they felt betrayed by Mei, they still couldn't turn their backs on her completely, with Miriam even taking care of Mei's Tamagotchi. During the final conflict, Priya, Abby, and Miriam were able to rally Four Town and get them to perform as a way of encouraging Mei, knowing that singing together always boosted Mei's confidence. Without their help, Ming may have never made it back to being human again. Now let's move on to our next entry. But first, today's video is sponsored by NordVPN. If you're a fan of Wicked Binge, I'm sure you also watch a lot of Netflix, Disney+, and all sorts of other streaming services. But did you know that all these streaming services have different libraries of available content for each country? That means there's stuff that's available in places like Japan, the UK, Germany, Brazil, and Iceland that isn't available here in the US, and vice versa. It's actually crazy how many series and movies are available in other countries but are region blocked here in the US. But you can get around this super easy with NordVPN. NordVPN allows you to change your server to another country so those shows instantly become available. And it's not just the obscure stuff that gets blocked by these streaming sites. On the US Netflix, you can't access shows like South Park, Rick and Morty, Family Guy, or Steven Universe unless you use NordVPN to unlock it all in a couple seconds. On Disney+, if you switch to another region outside of the US, you can actually unlock the entire Star library, which includes tons of shows from ABC, Hulu, and other networks. This library is huge and includes tons of comedies, sitcoms, and shows like The Walking Dead and more. And you don't have to be tech savvy to use NordVPN. And on top of that, it's also a great added security precaution to protect yourself from hackers on the internet, and you can use it on 6 devices per account. Now here's the best part. NordVPN was cool enough to hook us up with a promo code just for our audience. If you go to nordvpn.com/wickedbinge, you'll get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge 70% discount, and it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. This is a limited time offer, so make sure to sign up as soon as possible. Thank you NordVPN for sponsoring us today, helping us unlock more streaming content online, and keeping our data safe. Now let's get back to the video. Next we have Four Town. Like many of the young teens in this movie, from the start, the members of Four Town seemed to be only interested in their image and reputation. After all, they are celebrities, and were glamorized and placed on a pedestal by legions of fans. But while their music might be a bit cheesy, there's no denying that Four Town did in fact sing from their heart, and most importantly, were able to use their music to help power the circle around Ming, and they played a key role in the final battle. Next up, we have Mr. Gao. The man in charge of the ritual, Mr. Gao had a knack for being knowledgeable of tradition and being able to improvise in a pinch. After Ming had made her way to the Superdome, Mr. Gao worked fast to lead the ritual. He was able to find high ground to lead her panda out and not only successfully resealed Ming's panda, but everyone else's, utilizing things he found last minute around him. Who else would look at a piece of Four Town merchandise or a Tamagotchi and think it was a usable vessel for a mystic beast? Only Mr. Gao. Our next ranking is another group spot, going to the aunties, Chen, Ping, Helen, and Lily. While they were only in a few scenes, these women proved to be incredibly powerful. Sure, they were a bit too overbearing, but they proved to be able to protect their family when it counted.
No, she gained weight.
Like her mother.
They dropped everything to help Mei seal away her panda. They quickly shattered their own vessels in order to help Wu and Mei get Ming into the circle. When all was said and done, though they didn't fully understand it, they supported Mei keeping her panda. Next up, we have Grandma Wu Li. When Wu first made an appearance on screen, she made it clear she liked to be in control, which was something she clearly passed down to her daughter Ming. After seeing a news broadcast of a giant red panda, Wu didn't need much time to connect the dots.
I'm on my way. With reinforcements.
She quickly rallied the rest of the women in their family, as well as Mr. Gao, to help lead the ritual. After they arrived at the temple, when Wu was having her heart-to-heart with Mei, she revealed she already knew that Mei was allowing her panda to be out without Ming and Jin knowing. Wu had the same flaw as Ming. She was too overbearing and was quick to write off what was once a family blessing as a curse. She blamed Ming's panda for being the reason she and her daughter were no longer close, rather than taking accountability that she had a hand in creating that distance. It was obvious that even after all those years apart, Wu still didn't approve of Jin, giving him various orders to keep him busy and out of the way. When Wu saw Mei trying to get her mother back to the circle for the ritual, she had finally made the call to place Ming first. She allowed herself to risk losing control of her forms in order to help her own daughter, and called for the aunties to do the same. Wu was not only a strong woman, but a commanding presence. Her actions didn't always translate well, but she did always have the best of intentions. In the end, she was able to meet her daughter halfway, and see the value in surrendering her hold on everything around her. Taking the bronze medal for most powerful character is Mei's mother, Ming Li. Ming fit the profile of an overbearing mother perfectly. On the one hand, it's understandable. Seeing inappropriate pictures your daughter has drawn of a boy clearly older than her would cause a parent to go into overprotective mode. On the other hand, it wouldn't have hurt Ming to give her daughter more freedom or listen when Mei tries to talk her down from a rant. From the Dairy Mart scene alone, we saw that Ming was a force to be reckoned with. As the movie progressed, we saw that Ming was willing to break the law in order to be certain Mei was safe. After her pendant was shattered, Ming's panda form was freed, exposing her to have the most powerful panda form in all of her family. The only other time it was implied someone else could grow that big in panda form was when the story of Sun Yi was told, and she was shown to chase away an entire army. And we also think that it would be easy for Ming in her beast form to take out a massive army as well. Taking the silver medal for most powerful character is the protagonist herself, Mei. Sure, she was a chaotic mess for much of the movie, but what 13-year-old wouldn't be? Even without the addition of a red panda lying dormant, ready to burst out, being a teenager is pretty rough. Despite all that, Mei was able to do something her family had considered impossible for generations. She controlled the red panda.
I think I've made a breakthrough.
Mei was able to correlate her love for her friends to how she was able to calm down enough to become human again. That wound up giving her the chance to use her panda to freely express herself and find a way to get her and her friends to see their favorite band in concert. With the presence of the panda, Mei not only became stronger as a person, but also more physically capable. Her mother Ming's panda form far outmatched her own, and yet Mei was still able to avoid being crushed under Ming and knocked her mother unconscious. Not to mention, this was all done with the ability to switch back and forth for agility, a skill she didn't realize she had until she was switching forms to rush towards the Superdome. While it isn't really a superpower, we also have to mention May's drive to excel in everything she did. May never tolerated doing the bare minimum in anything, even when she was getting distracted in school and her grades dropped. She was still hitting a B average, which said a lot for how well she grasped new concepts and used the information. May displayed her skill to quickly adapt to new situations, even under pressure. There were many times she could have been caught in her panda form before that moment in the bathroom, but she had the sense enough to flee and try to stay out of sight as she retreated home. May was also likely one of the strongest spiritual members of her family. While all the women in the Lee family honored Sun Li, May was the only one shown to directly communicate with the ancestor. With all these powerful women in the family with this impressive ability, who could possibly outrank them in terms of power? Well, we decided to give the Gold Medal of Strength to May's ancestor, Sun Yi. There is no question as to why her descendants honored her with so much dedication and reverence. Sun Yi had not only managed to save herself and her kids, but also her entire village from complete destruction. While we don't see Sun Yi's red panda form in action, we can guess from Ming's capability of destruction that the beast was something to be reckoned with. It was implied that, like May, Sun Yi had total control over her forms, and had been able to channel her emotions to switch back and forth for whatever she needed. We also see in her interactions with May that Sun Yi was also able to shrink her red panda form, with the one we see at the very end of the film closer in size to May's. This was a skill we didn't see with any of the other members of the family. From what Jin had told May about seeing Ming's form, she didn't know how to be anything but giant.
I told you she was big!
That big?
And that had been a part of the reason she was so terrified of having the power. There is a chance that Sun Yi's direct descendants, like her daughters and granddaughters, may have been able to master growing or shrinking in size depending on what challenge they faced. There is also something to be said for how powerful Sun Yi was, before she was even granted the gift of the red panda. Ming told the story of how Sun Yi had to ask for the power to protect her family, and so had been given the blessing from a divine power. For Sun Yi to pull off something that impressive, she would have had a massive amount of spiritual ability. Even without being granted the shape-shifting blessing, Sun Yi would have no doubt found some other way to protect her family and village. She was clearly a woman who didn't know the meaning of the word quit, and for that reason, we give her the Gold Medal of Strength. But let us know in the comments section if you agree with our ranking, and let us know what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge our other Turning Red videos, like our Every Easter Egg video, or our Turning Red characters from good to most heroic video. But most importantly, stay wicked.